Welcome to our podcast. I am Amy. This is Mike, and we are the owners of Doodlebug Academy in Smithfield, Utah. We have been running our business for approximately
going on 8 years now.
We are loving it. And we have had a lot of questions recently about first-time parents and how they are going to be able to leave their kids at daycare. And so we thought, why not start a podcast to help those new time parents help transition their kids into childcare that have never been in childcare or maybe are coming back after a long spurt of time not being in childcare. So we are here to do that for you, and hopefully you'll find it helpful. So whether you're excited or nervous or a combination of the two about this big step, we wanted to share with you some practical tips on making this a successful journey for you and your family. So we'll help cover how to prepare your young one and what to look for when choosing a daycare and ways to ease those first day jitters. So one thing you'll want to do is just help share stories with your kids to get them excited about coming. So make sure you're doing that. So that's always a big idea. Get them excited about the whole idea. When we are done with this podcast, make sure that you click the link below, and I'll be sharing a story about Llama Llama Mrs. Mama, and then you can let your kids listen to that, and hopefully that will help.
It is a great story.
It is, and then they can get excited about starting that first day.
Yes.
So that's a great story that you can start them off with.
And Mom and Dad can get excited too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So on the first time, you probably want to start preparing your children for daycare. Let them know kind of how it's going to be. Maybe bring them down to the daycare. Let them meet their teachers and maybe some of the other children. Talk to them. Let them know they're going to be making some new friends. They're going to be playing games. They're going to be doing a lot of really cool things. As a parent, you've got to build your kids up so that they can feel your excitement. If they feel your excitement, they're going to be excited themselves. But if they feel your hesitation or your worry, then they're going to have hesitation and worry. It's going to all bleed over from you to them. And so you want your children to be excited for daycare. And really, it's going to be good. They're going to be able to make a lot of friends. They're going to learn a lot. They're going to have a lot of activities, and it's going to really be great. So some of the things you can do is most daycares are going to let you come in beforehand, do a visit and a tour and things like that. And they might even let you do a shorter introductory day so that your child can come for maybe an hour or two and spend some time with the kids and kind of get a feel for it before they're there all day long. Of course, meeting the teachers, whether it's one teacher or several, it's good for them to have a familiar face that they can look at when they get to the daycare. Kids like to know what's coming next. In daycare we call that, and probably in school too, they call it transitioning. And they let the kids know, like, okay, we're playing, we're doing this right now, but in 15 seconds we're going to be doing this, so that they know what to expect. Kids love to know what to expect. But yeah, when you come out to the daycare, at Doodlebug, we'll walk you around, show you the whole center. We'll show you the playground. We'll show you the gym, show you the teachers, maybe introduce you to the cook if she's there, whatever it takes.
Yeah, meet the management team, see the playground, talk to the parents, show the parents how to clock in and out.
Like Doodlebug Academy, and maybe a lot like the other ones, we use a system called ProCare. And so parents need to be in the system, and it'll have your fingerprint in there, and it actually, the daycare part of the facility is locked down. So only parents can get back there with their fingerprints and things like that. Otherwise, it's locked out. People that aren't supposed to be in there aren't allowed in there. So it's a nice, secure little feature that we have.
It not only helps kids with their first day jitters, it helps mom and dad with their first day jitters, knowing that they're in a secure center away from any dangers and stuff. So especially, I don't know, we live in a pretty safe, I think, community. So I don't, wherever you're from, you might feel a little bit hesitant, but those things I think help you feel a lot more secure about leaving your children at a place like that. So one thing you can do is practice routines with your kids. So if you came into the center and spent a little bit of time, you could get a schedule from the teacher or teachers that are there, and you can mimic parts of your day. So in the morning, the kids will have breakfast, and then they'll have some activities, and then they'll have maybe a snack or they'll have lunch. Then they'll go down for maybe a nap, and then they'll have a snack when they wake up, and maybe have some more activities, go outside. So if you're mimicking those activities at home around those same time frames, you can practice that on the weekend or when you're home from work, and then your children can, have a feel for what that is going to be like. And you can say, hey, at daycare, that's what you're going to do there. You get to have, lunch, and then after lunch you have a little nap, and then after that you can, do some art, or you can go outside and play with your friends, or go to the gym and play. And so having that helps a lot. And then read books about daycare, like Llama Llama Mrs. Mama, and tell them, hey, it's okay, you're going to be at daycare for a little while, but I'm going to be back. Books like this help to normalize their feelings, just gives them that safe space from that. Another book that's really, really good is The Kissing Hand. So I'll be reading that story in the future as well. And that also helps to normalize their feelings. And then the other thing you'll want to do is pack some comfort items. A blanket, some pictures of their family, even if it's an aunt and uncle or grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, cat, dog, gerbil, whatever you might have. A couple of those pictures would be nice, because I know the teachers that we have like to post those pictures in their little cozy area. We call it our cozy corner, for kids when they have their big feelings, that they know that, hey, I'm really overstimulated right now. I'm going to go ahead and, step away from these kids. And we really start teaching them to step away at about the age of 2. And even younger, we start to really show them that they can step away and they can go have some time away from the others. That's their safe space, that they can have their calming down time. And so a picture of mom and dad or their animals in that space is helpful. Or even if they just want to go to their cubby and pull out a picture, or pull out a blanket, or pull out a stuffed animal, that helps a lot. We do discourage toys being brought from home. Those cause a lot of fights with other kids, because the other kids want to play with them and they're like, no, mine. And so that's really hard. Plus, things can get broken, like their toys and stuff at daycare, and it's really hard for the teachers to manage all the kids' toys. And okay, did this belong at daycare? Is this Joey's? Whose is this toy? And label. Just label everything that you bring, so that if it gets misplaced, then they know where it belongs. So label everything.
Yeah, if it doesn't have a label, there's a good chance it's getting lost.
It's going to get lost.
So
jackets.
Yeah.
Bottles, binkies. I would label my diapers. If it was my child going to
too.
daycare, I would label every diaper with a Sharpie. So I don't want to share. We have extra diapers at our daycare center in case a parent forgets a diaper or something, and that's fine. But if I'm bringing my own, I think I want them for my kids. So I label everything. I'm a labeler. I like to stay organized. So,
and most daycares like ours, we have a cubby for each child.
Every child has
so
their own space.
their stuff goes in that. So,
yes.
But it
extra
is still
clothes,
good to label.
Pack extra clothes, label their extra clothes, just label everything. And then just like I said before, like Mike said before, just make sure you are staying upbeat. They feel your energy. If mom is stressed and that child's, they're going to feel that energy from you, and they're going to be in the same space as you. And the other thing I think is a lot of fun for these kids, if you take them to the store and you can buy them a little backpack, or even a secondhand store, or place like that, just to get them a little backpack and say, hey, and pack it, with their little favorite little stuffed animal or something, and a couple pictures.
Yeah, make it a big deal.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge for them. It's good for you. It's good for them. I know parents are nervous about this a lot of the time, but remember, one day these kids are going to have to leave mom and dad, and they're going to be okay.
And daycare is a good prep for that. And
it is. It's a good space for them to be.
It is. It's a safe place. You're going to meet new friends, and good stuff. So
the second thing that we want to talk about is choosing the right daycare center. There's a lot of great ones out there. A lot of really great ones out there. There's some that are in people's homes and some that are in a center. When we first opened our center, we opened at the same time as another center, and we were really surprised when we were opening our doors that another center that was just down the street from us, she came over and she brought us a welcome basket, and we were just like, wow, like, she's great. Like, we're supposed to be competition, but she sure doesn't treat it like competition. She's great. Like, she's really nice, And she told us, hey, if you ever have space, let me know, and I'll send my guys over, and vice versa. If you guys are too full and you want to send some of your people over to me, And I was like, yeah, but I just didn't expect such kindness, Yeah,
one thing we found is that the daycare community, the providers, they're all pretty good, and they treat each other with kindness and respect, and it's really pretty good, because that's the kind of community you want. You don't want people not being
Yeah.
nice to each other. But
Yeah.
it was a little bit of a surprise. And
It
really,
was.
all of the providers
It
we've
was.
met in that almost 8 years that we've been in business have been really, really great. We
Yeah.
haven't had
Well,
any
we're all
problems
there
with
for
any
the
of
same reason,
them. Right.
and we're there because we love kids and we want them to have a great place to go to. Some of us, we've been able to be stay-at-home moms, and we've been able to,
Or dads.
or dads, dads
Yeah.
are great, and we've ever been able to do those kinds of things, and that's been great. But I feel like, and I think Mike is on the same page as me, that we're kind of moving away from that, where, and we have for a long time, where both parents have to work now.
Yeah, they do, just to make ends meet anymore.
Yeah, and it's really hard. And I know
the economy's tough.
Yeah.
And we understand that for sure.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the moms that work for me, they want so bad to be stay-at-home moms and just be home with their kids, and it's hard for them. They want it to be the way it used to be, and maybe someday we'll get back there. Maybe we'll never get back there. I don't know. But for now, with the way that things are, we have to make good spaces for our kids to be, and they need to be safe spaces. So one of the big things that we want to be able to provide is a safe place for kids. That's our biggest thing. And so we put security cameras up. So when you're looking for a center for your children, ask them, do you have security? Like, what kind of security do you have in place? Do you have cameras? A lot of the in-home ones won't have cameras, but they might have other things. They might have a system where they have to, like, we have our little program machine where they have to fingerprint in to get back to the kids. And so in order for them to have a fingerprint, they have to be logged in as either a parent, or one of the caregivers has to say, yes, this person, it's okay for them to, get back to the back to visit my kids,
right,
or to check them in or check them out. And so they have to have that. And so not just anybody can come back there. And so if they're an in-home provider, what are their things in place? So make sure you're asking those questions. And even ones that are not in home, even the centers, what do they have in place for those?
Right. I mean, your children are your most prized possession. I know mine are. They still are, even though they're a little bit older now, as you can tell from my gray. But yeah, you want to make sure that the place is good. Like Doodlebug Academy, when we built the place, we built it and we designed the building to be safe and secure, with childcare and children in mind. But there's a lot of other things you want to check for. You want to, obviously, like the cameras and the security systems, and which we have. We have many cameras throughout each room and throughout all the halls and throughout the outside of the building. We've got all of that, and we even put a monitor out front in the lobby that the parents can watch, and if they want to see footage, they can make an appointment, come in anytime to see any footage. It's an open door policy as far as that goes. But another thing you want to do is you want to check to make sure your provider is licensed. With being licensed, every state has different rules, but they're very similar, and they are designed to keep your children safe. The rule book in Utah is that thick, and every rule in there has been put in there with the safety of the children in mind. And some of them that we kind of looked at each other like, oh, is that really in there? It is because a provider somewhere had that happen, and they had to write a rule for it. And so being licensed is great. It's going to be a good way for you to know that they're keeping in line with the rules and regulations by the state. And each state has it. You can go to, in Utah, you can go to careaboutchildcare.utah.gov, and you can check, you can read the rules. You can check to see if any of the daycares have had findings, which is not a bad idea to go in and just see. If they have a history of accidents or things like that, it's not a bad idea to check. You got to make sure that they've got the proper business licensing, in the community or the state or whatever is required. You also got to make sure that they've got insurance. A lot of in-home providers aren't going to give you that, and most people don't think to ask, but you want your kids insured in case something happens, because these in-home ones or even centers, if they aren't insured and something major happens, it could be a big financial hit to that provider and or the parents. So you want to make sure that that's something that you check into, because that is really important to make sure that they're insured. And of course, you want to check the facility and make sure that it looks safe, that it's clean, because injuries come from filth too, and so you don't want your kids getting sick when they don't have to needlessly get sick. You'll want to check on their emergency procedures. What do they do in case of a fire or a flood or some other...
Or an intruder.
Or an act of nature, that a lot of people don't consider. You want to know what their plan is in case those things happen. And then, of course,
Are they practicing?
Yeah. And
are they practicing for those?
Right. I know in Utah we are required to do our fire drills and our
emergency preparedness
things, drills, like the
different ones throughout the month, every month.
Right. And childcare licensing in Utah, they will hit us once they'll call us and say, okay, Doodlebug Academy, we are coming to visit you on this date. And they will go through and they'll check all of our processes. They'll check all of the rooms. They'll check to make sure everything, all of our paperwork, make sure everything is in order. And then once a year, they just pop in as a surprise, and any licensed provider is going to get that. The unlicensed providers don't have that, so just be careful, be cautious.
Yeah.
First aid and CPR. Licensed providers are required to have a certain number of staff on location all the time that have been CPR, first aid,
certified.
And if they have an AED, AED certified. I mean, AEDs aren't usually used on kids, but it's something that can happen, and so you want to have that preparation there. If you need qualified staff, like the state of Utah, they require 24 hours of training every year. Doodlebug Academy is actually NECPA certified or accredited, and they actually require a little bit more. And so, so we
best practices.
So we keep the best practices of the state and NECPA to keep that accreditation up to date.
One other thing that you can do is you can come in at Doodlebug and you can observe for a while if you want to. You can sit there and watch the cameras if you want. You can come in the classroom, actually, which I really like is to have a parent come in and read stories to the kids. Or we have one mom, she'll come in and do science activities with our school age kids once a month, and that's a lot of fun. The kids love that. She's a science teacher up at the middle school, so she'll do that, and we love that.
And that makes your kids feel really special when mom or dad come in and
it's awesome.
And share whatever it is they're going to share. They think it's awesome.
This is my mom.
This
She's
is my
the
mom.
best.
This is my dad. They're the best.
Yeah. We love that. And just watch. And are these teachers, are they patient with the kids? Are they engaged with the kids? Are they on their phones too much? And that is something that's hard, something that we have definitely struggled with our center is, their phones. It's hard for them to want to put that away. That's a big thing, is we're attached at the hip with them. And so just letting them know, hey, you got to leave it at the front desk if you can't leave it in your bag. And
that's true. Phones are terrible,
it's
but
hard.
At the same time, we use an app to communicate with, what's going on during the day, so that parents can log into that app and go, okay, my kid has done these things. They had this for dinner. They've gone to the restroom this many times, yada, yada, yada. So the teachers are doing that with their phones or iPads. And so sometimes it's a tough one.
Yeah.
As a teacher, you want them to be able to say, okay, I'm doing this for a legitimate reason, but I'm not scrolling through social media or doing things that
and you can tell.
And you can.
I can tell as the owner and director, I can tell if they're scrolling through looking at clothes on Shein, or if they're adding new information on Brightwheel. We have tablets in all of our classrooms for our teachers. The only thing that they struggle with is on our app that we have, they don't take as good of pictures on the tablet as they'd like sometimes. And I've even tried it myself, and I can say, yeah, that's actually true. And so they do like to use their phones to do the pictures, to send to the parents and say, oh, look at them and their cute little moments doing this art activity. And so they do like to send that on their phones. And so I do have some really great teachers that they'll do that. They'll take that picture, they'll send it, and it's obvious when I'm checking the cameras, it's obvious that's what they're doing. But then it's always obvious as well when they're not doing those things, and that's when I have to have those conversations and say, look, I'm gonna have to take it away from you because you're abusing that employee right that I've given, and so you can't have it anymore. So you definitely want to look at that as well when you're looking for a center. Does that director or that owner, does she stand by that and say, nope, we can't have that, and say, I got to write you up, and okay, I've written you up too many times, you're out, because now you're impeding on the safety and care of the other children, and we can't have that because you're too much of a liability to the center. And these parents, they're entrusting you with their kids, and we're not doing that. So make sure that you are sending them somewhere where they will stand up for your kids. The other thing is there an engaging curriculum? What are they doing? Are they just playing all day? Which is great. I know a lot of centers and people are like, oh, I want them to learn through play. And that's really great. Learning through play, it's super fun, super great. And you can do that with story time, and you can do that with art and outdoor play. And they can learn math through all kinds of different ways. They can go outside and play, and you can talk about how many rocks that they found on their little journey, or how many leaves that they picked up, and you can talk about the different color of leaves that fell from the tree in autumn. So there's a lot of things you can do learning through play and things like that. So ask them about it. Ask them about how they're balancing that, how they are balancing the learning and the fun, and how that's working out. And is the environment that they're going into, is it welcoming? Is the teacher saying, oh, good morning, and oh, we're going to miss you tomorrow since you're not going to be here. We're going to be thinking about you all day long and I can't wait till you come back. Like, what kind of environment is that when you are stepping into the building?
And one thing you don't want for sure is, I mean, you don't send your kid to daycare to watch TV all day.
No.
So you want to know that they're being engaged.
Yeah.
And spending time with other children, and of course the curriculums and things like that. And there's a lot of curriculums out there. Our center has purchased 2 outstanding curriculums, plus we make some of our own. We make some of our own studies. We have somebody on staff that's a big part of her day is creating some really fun Doodlebug activities and curriculums, and she is great.
She's great.
And that kind of stuff is really important.
Yeah, she spends a lot of time to do that, and we're grateful to her. She's great. Make sure that your center has a lot of books, lots of toys, a lot of places to explore and learn. And the other thing we'll move on to is parent communication. Make sure that the staff that's there is talking to you. Make sure that they are asking questions, or make sure that you're asking them the questions. How was their day? A lot of parents will come in and they'll come out, and in and out, and the teachers don't even know.
Never actually talk to the teacher.
Yeah.
It's good to talk to the teacher to find out what's been going on, and really your children don't pay attention to that. If you go up to them and say, oh, what did little Joey do today? I would love to know, and they're going to be puff up with pride because mom and dad care. They want you to know. They want to know that you care. Of course, we mentioned the app too. There's a lot of apps. ProCare has it built in. She mentioned Brightwheel, and we've tried several other ones too. Hi, Mama. There's a bunch. But they're all
great. They're all
they've
good
got a
for
lot,
a great purpose.
And it allows communication throughout the day with your kids' teachers, and you just know it keeps you in the know. It's good.
And ask questions, and make sure that if something didn't sit right with you when you picked up your child, talk to them like that next day, like that morning when you do drop off. Ask them, say, hey, my child said this to me and I'm just curious, what does that mean, and what happened that I didn't know about? And if the teacher says, well, I'm not really sure because I wasn't there at pickup, say, well, will you look into that for me and let me know what you can find out? You need to make sure you get answers when you're asking those kinds of questions, and not just letting it ride out for 2 months and then go, hey, by the way, 2 months ago this happened. Because
it's tough for a provider when it's been like
a
long time has passed. I mean, we have cameras, but we can't go back on cameras indefinitely. Eventually, it's going to be erased. So it's good to go right away. If you have a question or concern, don't let it fester. And just
it's easier if you come like that next day or whatever, so that I can go back and look and check and see what I can do. Because after a certain amount of time, depending on how much activity is on the camera, it will erase after 3 months or whatever. It's not going to be there anymore, and I can't go back, I can't look, I can't research anything. So please, if you, wherever you're taking your kids, they have cameras and things like that, or if something happens to your young one, please, don't wait. You need to make sure you talk to the provider that they go to and ask those questions. And if that teacher does not know because they've left, or they just didn't see it, because things happen and the teacher can turn around and boom, something's happened and they just did not see it. Let's look that up. Let's find out. Let's do some research and see if we can help you out, because these things are important. So we want to make sure we can help you. And then the last thing is your gut check. If you go into a place and you're like, oh, this doesn't smell right,
doesn't feel right,
it's okay to walk around or walk out. And it's okay to walk out and say, okay, I'm going to go check some other places and see what I can find before you make that decision. Because if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right for you. And it may be right for other people to have their kids there, but every family's different. It's like if you put your child in a charter school versus a homeschool versus a public school, none
of them are wrong.
No, they're not wrong,
but they may not be right for everybody.
Exactly. And so it's the same with childcare. You might choose an in-home center versus in your workplace. They might have a daycare in there. Whichever. So make sure that wherever you decide to put your child, that it's somewhere that you feel confident and good about, and that your child feels confident and good about too.
Yes.
So,
I mean, really, whatever center or provider you choose should really feel like an extension of your family's values and your care. You want it to be kind of an extension of your home, if at all possible. And the providers probably aren't going to hit it right on the head, but they will try to be close, and they'll try to accommodate as much as they can, especially if you let them know the things that you're hoping for in your child care. So
okay. Okay, well, another.
Easing the child's first day anxiety.
Okay.
That can always be fun.
That's hard. They come in. Sometimes it's dad that brings them in, and dad that leaves in tears. Not so much mom, but dad too. Dads
Happens.
love their girls and their boys, and they struggle. They don't want to leave them at daycare.
But I'll tell you, if you linger, it makes it way worse.
Don't linger.
It is
Just
better to say,
I love you.
Love you.
And
have a great day. I'll be back in a couple hours or whatever, and then leave.
It'll be okay.
It is. And one thing we've seen is parents that linger, they're lingering because they're worried, and the kids pick up on that, and they cry and they carry on. But as soon as they leave, 99.999% of the time, the kids are fine.
And give it time. Don't be like, they cried today. Oh. And then tomorrow you come back, they cried. Oh no, you got to give it time.
It does take some time, and every kid is different. It might be once a kid may never cry, and it might be 3 months that they have a hard time, and then they're fine. But every kid will eventually be fine.
They are going to be okay. I don't know. Parents, I think, have a harder time than the kids. I really do.
They do, and really the kids, like in our experience. Seriously, most of the kids, not all, but most, as soon as mom and dad are out of sight, they are all good. But if you're there lingering and they know it, they just carry on because they're putting on a show for mom and dad. And
the teachers know. They know how to snuggle your kids, and they will be okay. And I watch the cameras too, and I listen for these little guys, and if I hear that they haven't stopped crying after a few minutes, or the drop-off's getting kind of rough or whatever, I'll jump up and I'll go help the teachers and stuff, because I know the teachers are trying to get through breakfast, or trying to clean up breakfast, or change diapers. I know that they need an extra hand, so I try to go in and help as much as I can, or if I can't, then I go send someone else to help. So or even if a parent stopped by my office and say, hey, I'm really trying to drop my kid off, but they look really busy in there, you think you can go help? And then I'm jumping in, every time. Give it time. Don't be like, oh, I'm giving up, it's been 2 days, I'm giving up. They'll be okay. So but like he said, don't linger, because lingering makes it so hard, and it's hard on you, but I'm telling you, it's harder on the kids when you linger. It's hard on the teachers too, because they sit there and go, oh my gosh, am I doing a horrible job? Mom's staying forever. I'm worried I'm doing a horrible job. No, you're not doing a horrible job. Mom's just really has, her heart is really hurting right now, or dad's heart's hurting right now. This is rough. So if you've never left your kids before, they're going to be fine. They have to go to kindergarten someday. Just remember that. You have to leave them at kindergarten eventually. So just make it quick, and don't let them pick up on emotions that you don't want them to have. Some of the things that we've seen is you'll have parents, they'll have some kind of a goodbye ritual, like, hey, little Johnny, we'll see you later, alligator. In a wild crocodile.
Right. Just like that. And the kids love it. They like having their thing, whether it's a fist bump or whatever it is that you guys come up to do. They like having a goodbye ritual, and they like being reassured that you're going to come back and get them. They don't want to be left there forever, so they want to know that you're coming back to get them. Yeah. So
that's true. And then check in with teachers. So after you do drop off and stuff, get on that app and just check in with them and say, hey, how are they doing? Are they doing good? So that's also a good one. Call the center and just say, hey, I'm just checking in. It was a rough drop off today. I just want to see how they're doing. And I'm always honest with the parent, they're still struggling a little bit, but I'm going to go in there. We're going to read them a story, and I'll call you back in a little bit, or maybe call, in a little bit. And it's hard for parents because you're at work. So I try not to call my parents on their phones. I try to use the app, that way you can get to it when you can get to it, and you're not getting in trouble at work by me bugging you all day. But I do try to do my best, and the teachers do too, to keep you informed of how their day is going. So, but it's normal. It's normal for them to cry and to cling to you. It's normal for you to cry too, and that's okay.
Yes, it is. But just remember, if you plan a joyful reunion, when you come and pick them up every day, the kids want you to be enthusiastic and happy when you pick them. They want to see how excited you are about the day that they had at daycare. So just make sure you plan that every time. If you do, you will have a great experience with daycare. You just will. Because daycare is good.
It is good. And make sure that you are getting into their cubbies, that you're cleaning out their cubbies. I have so many parents that never get into their cubbies. They never see their work that they're doing. They never walk down the hall and look at their artwork that's hanging up. They never go into the classroom and see the artwork that they've done. They don't do those things. And so
And your kids want you to be
they
excited about what they've made
yeah,
or
they
done, the art that
yeah.
they've done, or
And I
what they've
know you're
learned.
in a hurry and you're just hungry, you want to get home and start dinner, but just give it a couple extra minutes at pickup and say, show me what you've done today. Let's go get the stuff out of your cubby and let's talk about it in the car,
Yeah.
and let them hold on to the things that they've done for the day. Or if they can't take it home quite yet, ask the teacher, hey, on Friday can we take out their
Yeah.
their stuff off the walls so we can talk about it and show dad.
And just remember, if you're hesitant about daycare, I mean, we all have to go to work. We've all been there, and we've all had our kids little, and we can't be with them all the time. But remember that daycares are a safe spot for your kids. It allows them to make friends with other kids that are their own age. It teaches them to socialize and to interact with kids their own age and adults. And that is going to be huge when they get to kindergarten and elementary school and through life. They need to associate with other people that aren't mom and dad. They need to be separated from you from time to time so that they can learn to be social with people, because people are social beings. We have to socialize,
and we're teaching our kids to be independent, from the time they're little. As they grow older, we're teaching them to be independent, because eventually they have to leave you to, like I said, go to kindergarten, things like that, or go to a friend's house or go to grandma's house. They're never going to learn how to do that. They're never going to understand that it's okay not to be right by your side all the time. Some parents just really struggle with the ideas. Oh, I don't want my kid in daycare. I don't want my kid in daycare. Daycare is not a bad thing.
No, and
it's
a lot of
not
times
a bad thing.
A lot of time it gets demonized, I guess.
It does,
and it really doesn't deserve it, because it really is a good social place for children to be and learn and get skills that they can't get at home. I mean, they definitely can get skills at home, but the social ones, if they're only socializing with mom and dad and just a few people around the neighborhood, it's not the same. And when they get to kindergarten and grade school, they're going to have a hard time if they haven't
It'll be awkward for them.
Yeah, it'll be awkward. And so give it a chance, even if you're nervous. It's okay to be nervous, like she said earlier.
Even if you
it's
did
okay to
daycare,
even cry. I cry sometimes, and I know I'm not supposed to cry, but I do sometimes.
Even if you just had them go to daycare a couple times a week, just for the social skills.
Yeah, and we've had parents that have enrolled their kids for
just
a couple times a week, and one of the parents is always home, but they're just like, they're just not getting the socialization skills.
Or they just go to the gym. They go to the gym. I have one that goes to the gym twice a week, and she drops him off while she's at the gym, and then she picks him up, and he does great. He has a really good time, and then she picks him up like 11, and he's off.
Yeah, and I know most centers they're going to accommodate a custom schedule like that. So it doesn't have to be full time. Where you're Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever. Most of them are pretty flexible to a certain degree. So just keep that in mind. It's good for the kids. It's good for you. It's good for everybody, really.
Just remember, give yourself, it's okay to be nervous. Give yourself grace.
You're not a bad parent because you have to take them to daycare. We love your kids, and we love to take care of them. And we love, one of my favorite parts of the day is walking through the center and
Mr. Mike.
The kids think Mr. Mike is like.
He gets to do dance-offs.
They think I am so cool.
He gets to do dance-offs with the
I do dance-offs, and
and they eat him alive.
They do. It's not pretty.
It's kind of scary,
but it's fun.
But he does a good job at it, and he's a good dancer.
Well, I don't know. I lose. I always lose. The kids whoop me because they are so much better at the dance-off than me. But no, it's fun. We love having the kids there.
They're pretty good at it. But they, and they get it. They earn apple bucks, and so when they earn enough apple bucks, then I get to have lunch with them. And so we look forward to that. Or they get to earn time with me on the bus, for me to go with them on the bus runs, because I don't normally drive. So.
And the first time I did the dance-off, the whole class earned it, and I'm just like, oof. I didn't know if they'd get that, but it was fun and it was worth it, and the kids loved it, and I got more fist bumps that day, even though they whipped me on the dance off. It was probably not pretty, but I think it's been filmed, and I don't know.
It's been filmed.
I think it
probably
might get
on
out
social
there.
media
I don't know. but either way, don't judge too hard. I am not as in shape as I should be.
Anyway, so if you have any questions, if you have any questions, specific questions about daycare or anything like that, feel free to email. I'm Amy Mike, in case you forgot. Info
at doodlebugacademy.org.
And we'll try to answer any of your questions that you might have.
Or you can call us. Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yep.
is our hours, and our phone number is 435-535-1675.
Yeah, you can call and ask for Amy or Mike, and probably more Amy because he's got
And we'll
another
even give you
job, but
pointers if you're not coming to our center,
Yeah.
because we want all the parents out there to
have success
with daycare,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
daycares really are great, and really they're run by people who really love and care about kids. I know we do.
We do. Okay, so that is it for today. The next time we're going to talk about how to build strong partnership with your daycare. So that's an important one because you want to make sure that you and your daycare are, doing good together and communicating well. So, and I'll read the kissing hand next time. So, but this time I'm going to be reading Llama Llama. Mrs. Mama, thank you. So make sure you click the link below for my story. Thank you. Until next time.
Thank you. And I'd say like and subscribe, but I'm not a YouTuber yet, but maybe we will be.
No,
anyway, like and subscribe.
Thanks.
Thanks.